Yeah.
What does success look like for the Bears in 2022? We were discussing texting with topics today, and I was like, I'm thinking through is if Fields plays well, is that a successful season? If the Bears win a bunch of games, is that a successful season? What happens if the Bears somehow win a bunch of games? Fields gets hurt in week 3, and we got Trevor Siemian leading the way, and somehow you make the playoffs. Would that be a successful season? I think the answer to that is clearly no.
Yeah.
But so right. So I'm not exact. I think it's an interesting question. Like, what does success look like for the Bears? What does success look like for Fields? Like, how are you answering that question right now on June the 22nd?
Yeah, I think that going into this season is probably one of the most wide spectrums in terms of what the answer to that question is. Like, what is a successful season? Some seasons you can come into it and say, hey, we're trying to get in the playoffs, or we're contending for a Super Bowl, whatever it may be. I think this season there's such a wide array of possibilities for not only how the season could go, but what could actually be deemed as a good thing. Some people are like, hey, I want to win 3 games, get as high a draft pick as we can, and be ready to go in 2023, 2024, and so on. And that's not a bad answer either. Some people are like, yo, I think we can, get to the playoffs and make some noise. I think that's ambitious, but not a bad answer either. And then I think probably more realistically is somewhere in the middle, where they're going to be somewhere around, 6, 7, maybe 8 or 9 wins. I think that's pretty much the range they're going to be in. I think that for them, success has to be tied to what does Justin Fields look like? Does he take that next step forward in his second season in terms of his development? Can he make up for some of the deficiencies that they're going to have just because they don't have a lot of weaponry around him? If he's able to do that, and even if they come in around 6 wins or so, I still say that's a successful season.
So I'm with you on listen, Justin Fields being healthy. But like I don't put, like, I'm not saying that they can go winless or 1 win, 2 win, 3 wins for me to call it a success.
Yeah.
But as long as Justin Fields progresses, and Gonzo, I like your take here. If the O-line protects him, I look at it as a success. Like, getting through the season and he's not hurt.
Yeah.
And even if he sucks, like, you have an answer. Is this the guy that we have a clear, defined? We either are looking for a quarterback next year. Hopefully that will not be the case. And or he's played well and the Bears have won X amount of games. Like, that works for me. You go ahead.
Yeah, I think that how many questions can they answer for 2023? I think that's a great barometer for 22. Like, how many questions did we answer for 23? Did we answer question at quarterback number 1? That has to be a yes, or the season was a failure. Did we answer some questions on the offensive line? Do we have 2, 3, maybe 4 guys that we know are going to be there next year? What do we find out defensively? What do we find out about Jaquan Brisker? What do we find out about Kyler Gordon? How many questions for 2023 can we answer in 2022?
Right. And let's go, Matt Eberflus. Take risks, Luke Getsy. Let's find out. I'm a little, I don't know if the word is concerned, worried. I wouldn't recommend the strategy of just trying to somehow, some way, whatever way possible, win games. You don't want to put the quarterback in front of the team, but I kind of feel like you got to put at least a little bit of the quarterback in front of the team, because if you can develop him, it's like, I put it in tennis terms, Herb. If you go out there, for my tennis people, and you just try to chip it around and somehow just push it over the net and beat whoever you're at, you're never going to get to be the player that you actually could be. And the Bears are not going to find out who they're going to be if they just try to nickel and dime and don't let Justin Fields play football. You got to live with mistakes, and you got to let him actually develop into who he is, forego some wins to hit the big home run down the way, aka the Super Bowl. That makes sense, doesn't it not?
No, that makes a ton of sense to me. Listen, if the Bears are going to win a Super Bowl in the next, say, 4 years, right? They're going 22, 23, 24, 25. If they're going to win the Super Bowl in the next 4 years, Justin Fields may be the only person on this roster that you say he's certainly going to be on that team, right? If you got to start over at quarterback, you probably aren't going to win in the next 4 years. So if they're going to win it in the next 4 years, he's going to be the quarterback. I don't know for sure that anybody else absolutely has to be on that roster going forward. I mean, you got the rookie class, and that's a different situation. I love David Montgomery. There's some pieces that I like for sure, but I think Justin's the only one that you say yeah, if we're going to win the Super Bowl in the next 4 years, he absolutely has to be on that team. And so, yeah, you have to make some concessions to see, okay, this is maybe not best for the team, but it's best for Justin. We got to find this out. We got to develop him in this area. And so I wouldn't have any problem with Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus, taking that road sometimes.